Hey, good day, friends. It's Lance Klessig. I'm here today with Mike and Dave Unruh, who farm just outside of Rolling Stone, Minnesota. And these guys have been doing a little frost seeding here this spring. It's early to mid-March. And but before we talk about the frost seeding, tell us a little bit about your guys' farm, the history of the farm here, how many acres you run, that type of thing.
We're running together around 800 acres, corn, soybeans, alfalfa, and cover crops. Farming with my dad and grandpa, Gail Hazy.
Sure.
And yeah.
Great. And Dave, from your perspective, you guys, this was a working dairy farm for many years.
Yep.
And you had about 200-300 cows. Is that about right?
Yeah, I'm milking 300 plus.
Okay.
For quite a few years, and then that's gone away, and now we're just doing cropping.
Sure. And you run a custom chopping business as well.
Correct. We do
as well as a custom seeding business as far as the cover crop seed.
Correct.
So, perfect. So tell us a little bit about the frost seeding aspect. You know, we're out here, 11th of March, and you guys have done about 50 acres, but tell us a little bit about why you're frost seeding, kind of what drew you to it, that type of thing.
We've been cover cropping for a few years now, and we found that getting a live root in the ground tends to help us get planted earlier, as well as stimulate some microbiological activity.
Sure.
We like all the extra earthworms and kind of what they provide. And
sure. What about you, Dave?
Well, we started about 2013 or so. We had a prevent plant here. That's what got us started with cover cropping. We planted a cover mix in the summer on the ground. We never got planted, and the next year we could just see the benefits in that crop, in the next year's crop from doing that.
Sure.
So that's what got us started. And then the frost seeding thing, like you said, we didn't get things established, and want to try to get that going when the frost is kind of coming out of the ground. I always use the analogy like when the maple syrup runs. You want it to kind of freeze at night and thaw in the day, and get the heaving action and get that seed working in the ground a little bit.
Right. So with this rig, this is a rig you guys have had for a year or two now, right?
a year.
So really they're only using this rig just to distribute the seed. There's no tillage going on, no nothing. It's just a means to distribute the seed. So tell us a little bit about, how fast you can run on it. You ran, this past weekend when we still had snow. Tell us a little bit about those details.
Yep, ran on Friday, seeded at about 8 miles an hour in the snow. We were seeding into 8 inches of snow. When we're seeding in the fall, we will go at 10 miles an hour and cover 20 acres an hour. Seeded on top of the snow because it was on Friday, and they were talking 50 degrees on Saturday and 60 degrees on Sunday, and we knew the snow would be gone and it'd be a little soupy on top. So seeded on top of the snow, and all the seed now is just settled onto the ground. So
sure, perfect. And tell us a little bit about, we already just jumped in the tank and looked what was in the mix, but tell us about what you're seeding in front of what crop.
Seeding winter cereal rye, and at about 60 pounds an acre, and then 5 pounds an acre of frosty berseem clover, trying to get the clover as a legume to stimulate some different biologicals in the soil,
sure,
as well as maybe fix a little bit of nitrogen. And what was the other question?
This is going to corn or beans, or some of both?
This is going to go into corn. I mean, we're putting it on corn stalks, and I'm going to plant corn into that.
Back into corn.
Yep,
sure.
when it's green.
Perfect. And there are lots of ways to get cover crops out on the land, whether it's talking a drill, whether we're talking about some sort of air delivery system like a Gandy or a Valmer box, a Hagee, something like this, a VT with a central seed box on it. I mean, there's just lots of different ways that we can get seed applied to the land. And so you guys basically had this. You wanted to try frost seeding, so you pulled it out of the shed, and you're using it, right? I mean,
yep. Using what we have and seeing how it works, and then we'll go from there.
Sure, perfect. So another thing I just want to comment on, or have Mike, you talk about it. Mike and I have been able to go to these different soil health and cover crop workshops across the Midwest. A couple weeks ago, we were at the Wisconsin Cover Crop Conference in Stevens Point, which is about 3.5 hours from here. 400 people, and I walk in the room, and here's Mike. And you're there to learn, and you're there to network. So tell us a little bit about why you're doing that.
Going to these things because everybody has crazier ideas than I do, and they're trying them. Everybody kind of has ideas, but nobody's willing to try them. And at these conferences, you meet people that are trying things, and they're telling you what's working and what isn't working.
Sure.
So that way you don't have to go through some of the hardships they did.
Sure.
And then just as well as new ideas, because the cover cropping thing isn't new, but it's new for a lot of people. I mean, it's different than what we've done in the past, so I
Sure.
like to hear what other people are trying.
Yeah, perfect. Last question, guys. What's one piece of advice that you might offer somebody that's watching our video about how to get into no-till or how to get into cover crops, or why should you? And, you know, just one piece of advice you might offer.
I'd say talk to somebody that's already doing it and find out, because they've already gone through maybe some of the negatives,
Sure.
or something that there might be a piece of information that they have or that they've learned that they can kind of tell you ahead of time so you don't repeat that mistake.
Perfect.
So meet with people that have done it.
What about you, Dave?
I'd
What's
say
one-
start small. You know, take a 50 acres, 30 acres, whatever. Do it and give it more than 1 year.
Perfect.
Don't make your decision on the first year. You're gonna make mistakes.
Sure.
But work with it, work through it, and use other people as resources. But don't give up on it.
Sure. And I think that's a really good point, because you guys are on 800 acres and they're out here trying it on 50, 60 acres. This is their first year trying frost seeding. They've heard a lot of good success stories, but they want to make it work here on their farm in Winona County. And so I think that's really advisable to take small steps, if that
Right.
makes sense. So yeah, I just want to say, guys, appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mike.
Yeah,
Thanks,
thank you.
Dave. And thanks everyone for joining us, and choose to make it a great day.